You're listening to Head Vomit. The following episode contains crude, rude, and often offensive content that may feel dirty in your ears. If you're concerned about your ears, please choose carefully when and even if to listen. This podcast is ad-libbed. If you are seeking a libbed podcast, look elsewhere. The views expressed are not necessarily those of the creators.
Welcome to Holidays from Hell.
This week, we're catching up with Sandra and Ian from Biggleswade.
Well, we won these tickets to Barbados, right, and we were really excited about it, weren't we, darling?
To Barbados, yeah.
And we'd never been somewhere like that. It was like one of the furthest places that we could go, so we were really excited.
We wasn't we?
Yeah. Anyway, we took the flight and everything was great. We got in the hotel, and then we did notice things were a little bit strange.
Yeah, there were lots of naked people walking round with their bits hanging out.
Well, we put it to the side, didn't we? And we thought, oh, I can deal with that. It's fine.
The food was good, wasn't it?
The food was really nice, yeah.
Yeah.
The buffet, the chorizo.
Good chorizo, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't really know what, Barbados food was anyway, so I was happy to eat as much chorizo as I could get.
I don't think chorizo's from Barbados, looking back on it, but they did a right nice one there.
They did, yeah. Anyway, that night I had terrible runs from that chorizo, and I thought, oh, this is awful.
Yeah, you had the runs, didn't you, Duck?
I did, and you sat with me all night, bless you, didn't you, holding my hand?
I did.
Yeah, and I had to get it all out of my system.
Oh, it wasn't nice, it wasn't pleasant.
Anyway, I thought that would be the worst of our problems, but then, we got to the night entertainment, and they played this terrible music. It was like ABBA covers.
It was like Caribbean ABBA, wasn't it?
It was like Caribbean ABBA, and I quite like Caribbean music, so it was all right. I mean, I didn't mind that aspect of it.
But when they put the ABBA in it, that was when it went a bit weird, wasn't it?
Anyway, you tell them what happened next, because, it's just thinking about it, it hurts.
I mean, where do I start, really? I mean, first of all, the naked people, they weren't just naked. They were doing stuff to each other. Me and Barbara, we walked round the corner from the cocktail stand by the pool, and I thought a lady were eating some more chorizo, but it turned out that she was sucking a man off.
Unsightly.
It were unsightly, but me and Barbara, we're not like prudes, right? We've been around the block.
Yeah,
we know what a deep throat is. We know what a blow bang is. You know what I mean? But when you stick it out by hot dog vendors, by the pool, that's when you start to have a bit of a problem with it, you know what I mean? And, it came to mind that actually they shouldn't have been doing this. Here. I thought, what place have we come to? This is the holiday from hell, which is why we rang the programme.
That's why we're here.
What Ian and Barbara didn't know was that they had booked into a swingers resort.
Unsightly.
And not just any swingers resort, but Jamaica 1, the biggest orgy location in the entire Caribbean. Now, why it's called Jamaica 1 when it's in Barbados, nobody knows. So, we thought, whatever, lady sucking man off, you get a bit of that everywhere, don't you? So we just thought, whatever, we'll eat our hot dogs, try not to look at that, and then just enjoy the sun and the pool.
I think it was the non-stop ABBA which made it hard.
ABBA were on in background.
Non-stop ABBA on.
Non-stop. They were playing, and it wasn't even all the hits, not even the most famous tracks.
It was a B-side, wasn't it? Like the ones nobody knows.
That's right, Doc.
And I think that's why it was so hard to listen to.
It were the obscure Swedish ones that they had before they sung in English. Anyway, that's not the point. Point is, we were trying to enjoy the sun, and before we knew it, there were 6 or 7 shadows moving around us. And I said to my wife, oh God, they've come for us. And we looked around, and what did we saw? But a load of people fucking and sucking each other and putting things in holes that shouldn't be put in holes like that.
Unsightly.
Unsightly. When I get a little angry at unsightly behaviour, I go a bit wild, don't I, Brenda?
You do, yeah. It's quite frightening.
I can't help it.
He does out of the kindness of his heart, he does. Because he's just so, you held it in, didn't you, for so long?
I held it in for a long time, Duck, but I'd stopped degeneracy. There was a lot of degeneracy going around there. Now, I'm no religious man in particular. Nobody in my life's ever called me a saint. I ain't no Mother Teresa. I'm no soldier of the Lord. You know, I'm not a choir boy. So when I picked up that rake and I started stabbing the degenerate bastards fucking and sucking each other on the side of the pool, I knew I was doing the right thing.
It did get a little wild, yeah.
I had fucking 4 men down before the security guards got me.
They pinned him down. We spent 3 nights in a cell.
I wouldn't have minded if the guards weren't new too.
Everyone was nude, weren't they? In fact, thinking about it, everyone on the whole island.
That were right, Brenda. It was a nudist resort.
It was, yeah. But I didn't think the whole of Barbados would be.
But what was worse, what happened next? See, I went to prison, which is never good on your old day.
Not in a different country as well.
Especially not in a different country. But I'll tell you the worst thing about the prison. Now, I'm what I like to refer to as a bit of a free-range egg. I go everywhere. I walk over peaks, I walk over dales, I walk over everywhere. So being stuck in a little cell for me was quite unnerving, quite claustrophobic. So it were hard for me. But all that wasn't as bad as knowing that your wife is back in hotel room listening to the sounds of all them sucking and fucking neighbours. That's the worst thing, because my Brenda's too innocent to go join them.
Unsightly.
Unsightly.
I think the worst thing for me, though, darling, you say that, but it was the ABBA. I couldn't stand it. I really couldn't stand it.
Will you stop going on about that fucking band?
Sorry, dear. Anyway, to cut the story short, we were really quite lucky and we did get out of this pickle. And that's because Ian here has, he just has some contacts up in the government and they were able to pull some strings and get us out of there.
That's right. They sent in 4 Black Hawk helicopters and mowed all the bastards down. Got us out. That were right good. Got to ride in a helicopter, didn't we, love?
Yeah, it was fun.
And the other thing was, when we got back, they told us, and this is their exact words, we had zero culpability. Zero culpability for the bodies we left behind us in Barbados. Alright, and now we go to Ben and Kenny, who had a banging time in Marbella.
Yeah, we went to Marbella, didn't we? It was a great holiday. It was
Me, you, Kim went out there.
Yeah.
We thought we've got a couple of grand between us. We'll just go get fucking minced.
You see, we both just lost our jobs, and Ken had just got a job, so he was loaded, and he was like, "Come on, lads, I'm taking you away." What were you like? You were like, "Go on then."
Yeah, I said, "Come on in, you fucking cunt. Go on, I dare you, I dare you."
Yeah, it sounds aggressive, right? But it's just the way we laugh.
Yeah, it's just the way us lads talk to each other.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, what are you going to do? I was like, what are you going to do? And he was like, I bought us 3 tickets to Marbella. And I was like, sweet, fucking Marbella, let's go, you cunt.
He booked 3 weeks for us, so I thought it was nice. But then, yeah, things were going good. And then it was that party, wasn't there?
Yeah, the one by the beach.
Yeah, and that was fine. Like, you know, cocktails on the beach, hot girls everywhere. It was great. Do you remember Pina Coladas? You on the Pina Coladas, you were?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was on the Pina Coladas all night. And I had fucking Stellas there as well. Fucking right good.
When things really started taking a turn is when that taxi slammed right into Kenny.
It might have been around then, mate, yeah.
Yeah, because that broke both of his legs. The thing is, we were pretty sloshed at that point, so we didn't really know what to do. You could say we panicked.
Well, no, what happened was, he was fucking yelling out, my legs, you can't. Like, just giving it all this banging on the side of the taxi so it could drive off him, right? Because it was still fucking on him. It was on his legs. He'd stopped on his legs. When it pulled off, his shin bones looked like fucking trodden on bananas. We chased the taxi off. We said, oh, you can. We tried to get the number plate, but I don't read good. And you ain't that good with numbers, are you, mate? No. So we couldn't get either of the letters or the numbers. Because
I mean, it was a hit and run.
I'm 9 sheets to the fucking wind, and you're drunk too, and we got any number of fucking drugs in us, like ketamine,
All the drugs.
and all that stuff, all to balance ourselves out. We were fucked up, and we just thought if we call the police now, they're gonna have us down there, and we're gonna spend 2 weeks in a fucking Marbayan jail cell with Marbayan paedophiles and rapists. So instead of calling any authorities, we dragged Ken down further down the beach, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah, we did. And we thought we had to think fast because daylight was coming up.
He was screaming like a fucking monkey.
You put some sand in his mouth, if I remember correctly.
I call it a sandwich. It was a bit of sand and water, like, so the sand stuck together a bit, and I just jammed that in his fucking mouth. Because he was making too much noise, you know what I mean? Like, it's, obviously, we're going to help you, mate, but you got to trust us, you know what I mean? We're in Marbella. I kept telling him this, but he couldn't fucking understand me because he was too chewed
was
up by the
wild.
pain of his missing shins. Admittedly, yeah, Ken bled out before we could get him help, yeah? So obviously, we're down a mate now. There's 3 of us right now, one of us is dead, right? That changes the whole fucking friendship dynamic.
Unfortunately, he was the one with the money as well.
He had all the fucking money. He spoke Marbellese a little bit anyway, less than he thought he did, but whatever. Now we've got a dead friend that we've intentionally drugged down the fucking beach, right? And we're holding his fucking arms, but really all we're doing is planting fucking DNA on his corpse. We're like, fuck, what are we going to do? We got to fucking do this. So like we immediately get the nearest boat we find. So we drag Ken in the back of the speedboat, yeah? And we were like, right, we can't leave his fucking body here because it's going to be found in a second by a raver or something. And we're going to be caught in a second. So we hauled his corpse onto the back of the fucking speedboat. And we start bombing it, just fucking, right, where we go? I don't know. Where's land behind us? Fuck it, get away from the land. That's where the coppers are. Wild, mate, water going everywhere, people screaming. Fuck them. We got to get the fuck out of here. We're fleeing a fucking murder scene, even though we didn't kill the geezer, do you know what I mean? So we go out there into the fucking, what looks like the middle of the ocean, almost when we can't even see Marbella. I was starting to get a bit shit up because I don't like the water and we couldn't see any fucking land, and I was like, if we get fucking shut out here with
We'd
a
know
fucking
which way
body,
it fucking turned, didn't we?
we didn't know which way to, and even if we got rescued, it'd be us and a guy missing his shins. That don't look fucking good, does it? Anyway, we just beamed it away from the fucking land, yeah? And when we got out to a reasonable distance, yeah, that you probably couldn't even see on one of them things, what you call them, the gold things, the telescope or whatever.
That's right.
So we got out that far, rolled Ken's corpse over the side of the boat, watched it start to be picked on by like 4 or 5 sort of mid-sized fish, and then we got the fuck out of there, blazed it back to hotel, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah. And I remember before we went to bed, we were like, let's not speak of this. And then the worst thing was, next morning we woke up, shower didn't work.
Hi, yes, showers are often the main problem on our show. And next we go to Steve, who had a very strange time in Thailand. Alright, so I'll tell you what happened to me. I was down in Thailand. Little did I know that I was about to be put to the sword. I didn't really understand the land when I went there, but I quickly realised that Thailand is not Scotland. It's a very different kind of people that live out there, and that's fine. So anyway, I was out by the hotel pool and had a little swim and a little wee swim there, and I basically saw 4 men holding what I thought were cocktail trays, but they're in the shadows and I couldn't see them properly. And I put myself out the pool and I saw the 4 men before me, and it wasn't cocktail trays, they were machetes. And little did I know that these men were fully ready to use the machetes on me. They hooked and sliced me up like I was a piece of meat, and if it wasn't for the poor pool boy who took up his trusty blowtorch and sealed my wounds, I wouldn't be here to talk to you today. That poor pool boy, I wish I knew his name, but he got hacked by one of the men with a machete, and his head came off in a way that I've no seen anything come off anything else in my life. And my point is that poor pool boy never grew up to see his next birthday because he got decapitated by one of these strange men with machetes. These men, when they're done hacking at me, they came in for what I can only presume was the kill. So what I did was I kicked the first man in the crulies. I kneed the second one in his clavicle. And then I headbutted the other one right on his nasal bank. Shattered his fucking face. All 3 men went down like sacks of hot flour. But the 4th, I had no limbs or way of fighting on because I did all the other 3 in one move almost, like a kung fu master. The man retrieved his machete from the boy and came a-swinging at me. Now, I'm pretty sprightly for a 54-year-old, but I'm no sprightly enough to be a Thai man swinging a machete directly at my back. So I'm ashamed to say the machete connected. It hit me right in the left flank, which is fine. I don't use it much anyway. But I took that guy's machete and I pushed it right through the bastard's cheeks. Do you know what I mean? Give him a wee fucking credit card smile, from the days I was on the streets and stuff. But I thought, no, I'll put that behind me. I'll give him a clean warrior's death, because at the very least the man seemed a warrior, even if he had killed a child. So I took his machete, and I wedged it up his asshole, and I tore him in two. It gave me great satisfaction, because it's not often that you get to kill a man in clean blood. You know, in Scotland we say clean blood. I don't know if you ever heard that expression, but what it means is it was a justified kill. So, that boy, I'd avenged him, and I downed all 4 of my attackers. But the next thing I knew, there were 4 more Thai men by the pool, and they were undercover, they must have been, because they had the wee speedos on. They got out the pool with harpoon guns, and all of a sudden I was being shot at like a fucking Moby Dick. You know, at that point I was wondering whether it might have been me that's done something here, you know what I mean? Like, here were 8 men in 2 waves of 4 who were attacking me. I felt like John Wick. Anyway, the first harpoon hit me in the right flank. I noticed that they were focusing a lot on this area. I don't know whether they were trying to carve pieces out of me, or whether it was just because my flanks are so big. But anyway, it went straight through. So I pulled it out the other side and stuck it in the first guy's eye socket, and he went down, and I pulled the harpoon out. By that time, the second guy had already shot his, I don't know what you call them, they're like wee arrows, aren't they? Like arrows for fish. Anyway, that fucking thing that came out the harpoon shot right through my shoulder blade. I'm not ashamed to say I yelped like a 6-year-old girl. The second guy speared me into the floor, and we're rolling around on this fake poolside grass. And I thought to myself, I've not done anything to deserve this. No man has. No man deserves this. But that thought was cut short as the guy pulled out me fucking muscle fibre out in me fucking... Anyway, from that point on, it's a little blurry as to actually what happened to me and was committed by me. We had to rely on eyewitness accounts, and I'll tell you what they said about it. Apparently, after me and the second guy had gone to the floor, we're rolling around like a couple of amateur UFC fighters, the guy yanked the thing out of my shoulder, which apparently sent me into some sort of feral rage. I felt the brogue coming up in me. I wanted to be in a kilt. And all of a sudden, before I knew, I'd reached up and snapped the guy's neck. The third and fourth guys were nothing compared to the first 2 because I had that blood rage in me. And when they see me standing up over their dead mate's corpse with a fucking wide grin and a fucking ready-to-go attitude, they fucking backed off. And then I go into the kitchen and I see a fucking cunt with a fucking butcher's knife and another cunt with a fucking, I think it was a sous chef actually, with a fucking saucepan that's got boiling oil in it, and he's trying to waft it at you and slap it at you like a madman. And I thought, these people are on fucking drugs. Who the fuck assaults someone on their fucking holiday, for a start? And secondly, who the fuck assaults a guest? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm there paying money, and all of a sudden these fucking chefs are trying to kill me. Why don't they just throw me some poison in my food or something? Why have they got to hack me apart like I'm a fucking gammon? Anyway, the first fucking chef came at me, and he had the boiling oil, and he toasted at me. And I ducked just as the hotel maid came in behind me, and it soused her all over her pretty face. She had 3rd-degree burns over 90% of her pretty young body. This kitchen soon became a killing field. The chef who tossed the oil at me realised what he'd done to the waitress, and he noticed that it was his girlfriend, so immediately fell to his knees. I took that advantage to plunge my index finger into his right eye socket and fiddle around with the brain matter. It was like warm apple pie. Now, once that fucker was down, the guy with the knife came at me. So I pulled my finger out of the first cunt's brain and held it up to the first guy, who looked at it with such disgust that it disarmed him. So I took the butcher's knife, spun it 180 and plunged it into his fat chest. Now, at this point, 4 or 5 kitchen staff entered the kitchen with weapons of their own. And once they saw what I'd done to their friends, and I'm guessing bosses, because a lot of these guys were like the low level now, I could tell from the way they carried themselves. But these guys probably knew how to fight, I thought. So basically, in my right hand, I took a meat cleaver. In my left hand, I believe I took an electric turkey knife. Cordless, of course. Now, I went to work. And I tell you, when I say I went to work like we used to go to work when I worked for the Mafia in Glasgow. And that was a lot of hard work and effort and plenty of tools. Now, I took out 4 or 5 of the kitchen staff in various ways. I won't bore you with the details. Suffice to say, they ended up dead. At this point, I'm thinking, I've killed a lot of people. I'm halfway around the world from my bonny wee Scotland. They're not going to believe a wee Scotsman's not guilty. So I thought, right, I've got to get the fuck out of here. But I thought, is this something I've done? Is this not something I've done? Could there be anything? I'm searching my whole fucking past. I'm searching my whole history, thinking like, do I know any Thai people? Like, who could have put out a hit on me? I'm nobody. Like, I'm going through all these things in my head, and that's when the midget came in, holding the Kalashnikov, and for a wee second I thought, this little fella's not going to hurt me. Do you know what I mean? I actually thought, because he's a midget, he's going to be some sort of different from a regular person. And, I regret that. This midget opened up immediately. His Kalashnikov started clack, 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 clack. The whole fucking hotel room was lighting up like the fucking 4th of July. So I hit the deck. A bullet caught me in the left flank. So at this point, I'd been chopped considerably. I'd been harpooned in several places. And I was bleeding pretty heavy. And then I'd also just been shot. So at this point, I'm not feeling too well either, you know what I mean? Which also has an effect on your temper. Maybe I could have reasoned with the little fella, but in hindsight, I think I did the right thing when I picked him up by his wee head and just twisted it 180 degrees. So I took his Kalashnikov, and immediately now I'm thinking like, look, everybody's a fucking suspect, mate. Everybody. At this point, if you go outside, even if you see a cocktail waitress, just fucking gun the cunt down, do you know what I mean? Because you're not going to get the chance. Like, she's going to pull out something from her fucking hair, like a needle or something, and get to work on you. Or there's going to be the receptionist going to have like a gun hidden in his fucking ankle or something. So I'd just kick open those front doors to the reception area. I'd just start blasting. I'm emptying the Kalashnikov at everything I fucking see, mate. Everything. I think I mowed through about 14 or 15 more people, and the coroner's report afterwards said that only 2 were a threat to me. But after I'd shot the first couple of innocents, everyone was a threat to me. What the police said, this is the point I went from a victim to a perpetrator. I disagree, because I think the best way to defend is to attack. So 10 women and children might have survived, sure, but I might be dead, and that's what I reasoned with in my court case. So anyway, at this point I reasoned that my body count was quite high, so I thought the best thing to do is probably just flee the country, because at least if I go back to Scotland, I can hide in the fucking mountains like my kin of old. So I went out and saw a guy in a taxi, and I was like, "Oi mate, do you go to the airport?" And he was like, "What do you want to go there for?" And I was like, why do you want to know? And I realised this guy was one of the fucking guys, and he pulled out a gun and he started like waving it in my face. So I took the gun off him and shot him in the back of his fucking head. I got to the airport and nobody was there waiting for me. Nobody was there trying to kill me. And of course I ditched the Kalashnikov outside the airport in the taxi with the dead fucker. And I basically just breezed through security. I breezed through the bag check. I breezed through the security desk. Everything. Anything to declare. Not in your fucking life. Like, let me go back to Scotland. That's all I fucking told them. They didn't understand. So I get on the plane. I thought there might be trouble coming back into Heathrow. Because I thought, obviously we got the World Wide Web now and stories break quite fast, so I thought like, massacre at a hotel in Thailand is going to be top of the fucking priorities for everyone. No one fucking knew anything about it. I breezed through security there, and I breezed through bag check, and I breezed through immigration and passports. Breezed out the airport, got in the shuttle, go back to the hotel. I'm peeking through the blinds thinking these cunts are coming for me any second. Like, they've got to be, right? They've got to be. Like, there's no way. I'm hiding out, raiding the minibar, and like, stayed up all night, didn't get any sleep in the hotel. Next day, got in my car, breezed home, and I've never spoken about it again. To this day, I've never found out why the men behaved that way towards me. Could they just know like foreigners or something? Had I done something I'm still unaware of? I guess I'll never know. I drove home, I got home, and I've lived the rest of my life wondering. What about all the public outcry for my murders? Nobody cared. And I got away with it completely. And when I say I got away with it, it's unfair because they started it, you know what I mean? I don't care where the fuck you think you're from. If you pull a machete on a fucking Scotsman, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I don't think I can go to Thailand anymore. Well, that's certainly the worst holiday I've ever heard of. Join us next week, where we'll be looking at Ken and Jenny's holiday into the jungle, where Jenny had a sensuous escapade with a centipede, and the couple who went to Mumbai for a weekend, but were allergic to spice. We'll see you next time. Plunge with us into the depths of comedy. Submerge yourself in the unscripted, unprepared, and uncalled for hilarity. The Head Vomit Podcast Season 3, drip fed to you weekly, wherever you get your podcasts.